Hello, and welcome to our next week of work. Right now, we're going to be doing some work with Unit 7, mostly the first part of Unit 7, and then we're going to look at two other articles related to that. So, did you have a cup of coffee this morning? Did you have a cup of tea? Did you have a Coke? All of these things have caffeine in them. Caffeine is the substance that's in these drinks that makes our eyes fly open, that makes us feel more awake and stay awake, whether we want to or not. So we're going to be reading about caffeine in the book, and then you're specifically going to be reading two articles about coffee online. Okay, so what I want to start with is page 106 in your book. So if you don't have your book with you now, press pause and then come back. And what you can see on page 106, this is 106, is immediately you can see a graph, and you remember what kind of graph it is. It's called a bar graph. And I want you to study that bar graph, and then I want you to look at all the items that have numbers on them that are pictures. So the first one towards the front, you can see number 1 is a cup of espresso coffee. And the labels, the names of those items are listed in numbers 1 through 8 on page 106. And I want you to go up to the bar graph and complete that bar graph. What you're looking at is how much caffeine is in each of these items. So press pause, do the exercise, it shouldn't be hard, and then we'll just quickly go over the answers. Okay, so if you look at this, some of these were surprising to me in terms of which had more caffeine. So espresso coffee was B, milk chocolate bar number 2 was A, 3 brewed tea was C, 4 a can of energy drink was E, brewed coffee number 5 G, number 6 a bottle of cola D, 7 a large soda drink H, and 8 pain relief medicine was F. You can see that if you really want to stay awake, you should have a large soda drink. All right, so you can see all of these things have caffeine. Some of them you might not know had caffeine, but they all do. Okay, so we'll get to what you're going to do on your own in a little bit, but what I want to do now is to sort of skip over to page 110. Okay, so take a look on page 110. On page 110, they're teaching you about making lists of pros and cons. You probably know pros are the good things, the advantages. Cons are the bad things, the disadvantages. And in some kinds of reading, as you're reading, taking notes, having all the pros in one place and having all the cons in another place while you're reading, using your own words, can really help you understand what the writer is trying to say. And that's what you're going to end up taking a test on at the end of this unit. For now, what I want to point out in part A is that this you have to do after you've read the reading on page 107 and 108. But if you go down to part B, I want to look at that together. Sometimes when you see information that's a fact, that this does this, you then have to ask yourself a question. Is that a good thing or is that a bad thing? We know it does it, but is it good or bad? And that's what we're doing in part B that's down here at the bottom of the page. So what I want you to do, I'll do the first one for you and just show you how you think about this. The directions say, is eating chocolate good for you? I hope so. Mark each statement as P, a pro, a good thing, or C, a con. So when I look at number 1, it can be expensive if eaten every day. Well, I don't want to use up all my money on chocolate, so that to me would be a con. I'd put C. So again, pause the video, do numbers 2 through 6. Oh, and one of them could be a pro or a con, depending on the situation. So press pause now. Okay, so number 2, it can cause mood swings. This is always a con, like when you feel good and then bad and then good and then bad, not a good thing. 3, it contains a low level of caffeine, which can increase alertness. Alertness is always a good thing. Not being able to sleep is a bad thing sometimes, but alertness is good, so that would be a pro. 4, obviously, is a con. You don't want your teeth to decay or go bad. 5, the calcium in chocolate can reduce the harmful effects of tooth decay. So that would be a good thing. That would be a pro. So it's reducing the bad thing of decay. And 6 is the tricky one. It has a lot of calories. Now, if you're trying to lose weight, that's a con. If you're too thin and you're trying to gain weight, that would be a pro. So it depends on what our goals are. So there we have the pros and cons. And after you do the reading on pages 107 and 108, I want you to go back to part A on this page and complete the pros and cons list. We're not going to go over it. I think it won't be hard for you, but it'll show you an example of what we're going to be doing later on. Okay. Let me just review the other things you are going to be doing. So you're going to be reading the article. You're going to be doing pages 109 and 111. And then you're going to go to the quizzes and exams section in D2L, which you've already done. There's going to be those pages. You're going to see those there. And I know it's under quizzes and exams, but it's just counting as a homework assignment. Okay, after you finish that, you're going to go to the other quizzes and exam item about coffee, pros and cons of coffee. There you're going to be reading 2 articles. They're harder. They're the kinds of articles you'd see maybe in a college biology class. So the vocabulary is harder. You're going to have to slow down, use your dictionary. And while you're reading them, you're going to take notes on a piece of paper, 1 list of pros, 1 list of cons. Not from the article in the book, just from the article that you're reading online in that module. The 2 articles, sorry. Then you're going to go to the quizzes and exams section and you're going to copy your lists in. And then I'm going to open those up and review them and give you a grade. And that would be your test on Unit 7. So you have a week for this. Again, don't wait till the very end. It's not going to be very helpful if you do. Okay, I hope you're doing well. I miss seeing your faces. Bye.